everyone. Welcome back to another Talk to Me Tuesday. And this week we are very fortunate we have someone else, so you don't just have to listen to me talking. I have Janine with me, who is our Nourish My Soul board president, and she is raising 3 young kids in school at home and has 1 in college. So I thought she would bring a unique perspective in terms of the whole raising children in the midst of a pandemic. So welcome, Janine.
Hello, thank you.
So how are you doing, first of all?
How am I doing? It's a loaded question. Depends on the day, but I think this would be a great way to describe this. I am hiding, locked in my room, so I can talk to you without the word mom being called in the background.
I think every parent that has ever raised a child can totally relate to that, but I am feeling pretty fortunate that I'm not in the shoes that you're in right now, and my kids are all grown, so I don't have to deal with this added pressure and just scariness that's going on right now. So can you share your perspective with me a little bit?
Sure. So as Alicia said, I have 4 children. One is age 1, then I have an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 20-year-old. And so it's interesting because having all these different age groups, in some ways the pandemic looks different, or the issues are different depending on what age group you're looking at.
Mm.
And so I have all of them all at once. And so I think overwhelmed would be a great way to describe what it feels like at this time. And I would say that in a way that there are some really, really beautiful parts of this pandemic that we have discovered in just family time, and there is a beauty in not running around. Mm. And there has been a beauty. My husband and I look at each other all the time because he's home too. So like literally our whole household is home 24 hours, 7 days a week. But our little one, he's never seen a little one grow up the way he's seeing our 1-year-old. And our 1-year-old has no clue what like a business trip is or what it looks like to watch his older brothers go on the bus and disappear all day. So there's some things that you just sit back and you think like, whoa, like this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Until someone says, what can I eat now? And that question has been asked 20,000 times that day. So there's both beauty, and there's also really this other end of the spectrum where we are, I think, especially as parents, are on 24 hours, 7 days a week. And there's a certain aspect of just, you're tired. I think there's that kind of feeling of exhaustion in there.
Yeah. Well, I can understand, having raised 4 children myself, but having been an only child, it was really important to me when I was raising the kids that I had the me time. And so I can't imagine being a parent right now and not having that autonomy, and like I would be like you, locking myself in a room and like, no, I don't exist right now. So I imagine that would be the hardest.
I mean, you're laughing, but I think it's really, good for the viewers to know that, like, I often am texting Alicia saying, I'm hiding in the bathroom right now, or I'm hiding over here right now, because that really, it's very hard to have a time where you're by yourself, and there's a dual aspect to that too, because you know that your kids are going through this too.
Right.
So even when you do grab, let's say, a moment, you're going to go take a walk, and one of the kids come up to you and say, can I take one with you? You know that they're starving for that as well. And so, to say no or to, you just kind of like, yep, come along. I was joking that sometimes I will wake up to like 4 people in my bed, it's just, there is this sense where, we're all coping and the kids are coping too. And so, as parents, we're, you're just going, but there is a certain aspect where, we sit back and, you think, okay, so let's breathe and how are we going to move forward? Because we know that, we're kind of in this for the long haul.
Right.
And I think it's important, for, whoever's listening just to know that our family has decided to do full remote learning. And we are, we're very cautious, during this time. And so, I just think, so we're on that really 24 hours, 7 days a week in this pandemic time.
Yeah.
It's in our path.
Yeah. And that's really hard to do, but, I think that's a really great decision in terms of keeping you and your family safe.
And to be honest
and
with
keeping
you,
others safe too, honestly.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And we have some high risk in our family. We have a little one. There's all sorts of aspects. And one of the things that I do want to talk about, one of the things though that did happen when we did actually decide what way we were going to go through this, my husband and I, we actually sat down and were like, okay. And we really decided remote learning was the way we were going to go. And we actually decided that way during the lockdown. We kind of talked about whether they opened or not, that we were going to keep the kids home. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that was very interesting about making that decision was it actually brought a sigh of relief and the anxiety went down. Mm. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was almost a way that we knew we were going to go through it, and that kind of helped alleviate making some decisions, one decision out of the million that we have to make.
Right. Well, I'm sure it gave you a sense of control instead of having other people making those decisions for you.
Yes. And also, we weren't sure, with the ups and downs of, we weren't sure what might happen or not happen, and you're always on the edge of your seat looking, and it was just something that we could take off our plate, and we just knew, all right, we're in this, and we're gonna do virtual school, and that's an adventure in of itself.
Yep.
And so I'll just do this. This isn't what the podcast is, but I have all sorts of different learners. So I just am going to shout out to all those who are doing virtual school, that it is, every child is different, and I'm with you.
Yeah, I imagine if you have any atypical learners in your household, that is really challenging, especially not having the background that some of the professionals that work with your child in a school setting would have.
Well, what's funny is our atypical learner is doing fabulous. This is the best thing that has ever happened to him. And,
really?
And yes, it is, honestly, he is soaring like he's never soared before. And his confidence and his participation actually is like way up. I honestly think some ways it's harder for the normal learner who isn't getting, their days are different, or, where my atypical learner wasn't having fun in school to begin with. And it was a struggle. So this whole thing is just, it like flips everything upside down, and you're like, okay. So
that's kind of cool because it lets them switch roles a little bit and find, someone else gets to claim success in the classroom setting. It is.
That's kind of cool. So it's really incredible. But But one of the things that, when I really sat back and I knew we were going to talk about like, well, what is it like to be a parent during these times? I really thought about this one time when I had this psychological evaluation for a few days. It was for a job, not because I might be crazy, but something that always stuck out to me because it was for a leadership role, and was that when we have too many decisions or too many choices, that our brains literally like almost can't handle it, and we can even go into like almost a paralyzed state.
Mhm.
And I really think one of the most overwhelming and really tired, and I realize that it's a reality that probably all of us parents are just exhausted, is because every day we are making decisions beyond any type of decision we've ever made. And some of these decisions literally could be a life and death decision.
Mhm.
Some of these decisions are, in that like really unknown category, and you're sitting there, it might be is it too much? Is it too little? Like you're not really sure where. And then some of the decisions, literally, I mean, again, 24 hours, 7 days a week, I can't tell you, I'm so done with thinking of what to make for dinner, lunch, breakfast, snack. Like, I can't think of food anymore. And it's funny because we're Nourish My Soul, and so I'm putting it out to the people. You have a good lunch idea? Give it to us, because if I hear one more time, what are we going to eat? Like, it's just a decision after decision. And then you go to virtual school, or if you're doing any of virtual or homeschooling, you're answering and being a teacher as well.
Right.
And so even though that might not be decisions you're making, you're being asked questions, or you're explaining. And I really think we're probably, all our brains are on mental exhaustion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. So how are you addressing any of that? Are you doing anything about any of that?
I have my good days and bad days. But this is really kind of cool, since we were going to talk about this, it made me really say, oh, Janine, you need to think about this more, because you have the knowledge of that exhaustion. And in all honesty, I'm not, some weeks are better than others. I think the biggest mental health thing for us has been getting outside, taking a walk, and getting into the woods. That really is a place of connection. And I think that, especially because we are on the more cautious side and not everybody is making the same decisions, there's a loneliness in that. And so there's a certain peace that we get when we get into the woods. But after, this topic was coming up, I think, and I'd read this a long time ago and I know it works, I think we're going to have to do a kind of set, I'm going to go for meals first, make the same meal every different days of the week, meaning like Monday we can do pasta, Tuesday could be tacos, Wednesday, I don't know, give me an idea, Alicia, for Wednesday.
Oh gosh, let's see. Wednesdays could be. Isn't Wednesday supposed to be pasta day? But anyway, you could do.
Oh, that's true. Wednesday should be pasta day. I don't know. I only thought of. See, this is where I'm at. I can only, when you said food, I could only think of pasta and tacos. Like I can't.
I mean, winter, this is a good time. Well, we're in fall right now. It feels like winter, but, this is a great season for soups, and, Fridays are great for pizzas. Do make your own pizza night.
And I really think that what I'm going to do after this whole podcast is actually write that down and stick to it. And I think that honestly, it will be something off of my plate, but also something
Mhm.
really predictable for the whole family.
Right. Yeah, I think everyone could use that right now. And, that simplifies it. I know, obviously you have a 1-year-old, so he might not be able to participate, but I know that one of yours certainly can, but they can help out in preparing that. And that
Yeah.
gives them something to have control over too.
And actually 2 of them. My 2 middle ones, and they both can cook. And again, I think you're right. I really do believe that, and I know from past experiences when you kind of give them that control, that pride, and that participation, that it actually there's like a pride in the food, and you don't get so much like, I don't want to eat that today, because they made it. They're excited.
Exactly.
You may have to eat everything that they made, but and so I think that's something I'm really gonna think more about, because that has been an overwhelming way. One thing that we have already implemented that has actually done wonders is my 12-year-old is in a school that has a uniform, and they don't have to wear their uniform when they're virtual, but he had decided, because it's new, he's in 6th grade this year, that he was going to wear his uniform, and actually a lot of his classmates on the virtual world were wearing one. And what has been interesting is one of my other sons who doesn't have a uniform, we've decided in a sense to make him one, just certain, and them waking up and knowing what they're going to wear and actually having to change into something outside of their pajamas and get ready for school, has really done wonders for kind of that psyche of like transitioning from, being at home and being off, and being at home and being in school.
That's a great idea.
And so that,
I think that's effective for all of us, right? Like, get out of your
yeah.
pajamas and
and it's true. You want to know who wasn't getting out of their pajamas? Me.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, I had to stop myself. And I really sat there and said, oh my goodness, Janine, like, you've been wearing your pajamas. Now, my pajamas happen to be sweatshirt and sweat in a shirt, like, so I can get away with it. But I had to stop it myself because I was trying to teach the kids too. I was like, oh, you're not a good example. But it has done wonders for even my mental health to say, okay, we're going to, brush our teeth, even, whatever, have a morning ritual, get changed and get ready for the day. And we know we're going to do this piece. And you know what else it really has helped with? It actually has cut down on laundry. So,
really?
Yeah, because them having this specific kind of what they're going to wear, it's not like this free-for-all of, oh, I'm going to have this shirt on now, and then I'm going to put a hoodie on, and then I'm going to, put my underwear on my head, and then, like, whatever craziness goes on with the clothing. It just, it kind of minimalized it and kind of streamlined that, because, again, I don't know, what anybody else's kids are like, but I have one that would probably wear the same clothing and never have it washed. And then I have another one who probably, if they could, would change into a different outfit every hour. So that actually has helped us. It has helped me tremendously. It's kind of taken, again, some of the chaos out and put a little bit more structure.
Yeah.
And I realized, especially for our family, that the structure, even though it's anyone knows me, we're kind of like this creative, crazy family. And so are me and my husband. And in a sense, that creativity, which is great, needs to have a structure. And we feel it really helps again, that mental health and that kind of, that feeling of not being in chaos all the time.
Yeah.
Has really has been really helpful. And, that's all if we follow through with it.
Oh my gosh. Well, those are some really great tips. I think, having some control over the small decisions and actually, involving the kids in those small decisions so it's not always on you and the burden is not falling on the parents all the time, which, let's be honest, is really falling on the mothers primarily in this situation, which is it's really, really difficult. So the more we can spread out those decision making, I think the better off all of us will be. So yeah, I think those are fabulous. So hopefully for anyone who's listening, you guys have some tips that you want to share as well. Janine, will you be willing to come back on another time? Because I know you have some other fantastic ideas and we've talked a lot about other things too, and I'd love to have you back on.
Absolutely. And for everybody who's listening, just know you're not alone. And Nourish My Soul, we're here for that nourishment too. And so, we're here. We're in this together.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to reach out. And really, everyone, we love you and stay safe.
Perfect way to end that. Thank you. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Alicia.